Hello guys, welcome to another video here on the pre-security part here on Tryhackme, and we're currently under the Windows Fundamentals module, and we're currently going to study Windows Fundamentals Part 2, the room. Now, heading straight to it, Windows Fundamentals Part 2. In Part 2 of this Windows Fundamental module, we're going to discover more about system configurations, UAC Settings, resource monitoring, and the Windows Registry, and more. And without further ado, let's go straight to Task 1. Before we start the Task 1, the introduction, I would like to just start the machine here, and then let's go over it. Now, we'll continue our journey exploring the Windows operating system. In Windows Fundamentals Part 1, we covered the desktop, the file system, user account control, the control panel, settings, and the task manager. Now, this module will attempt to provide an overview of some other utilities available within the Windows operating system and different methods to access these utilities. Now, we're going to launch the attached virtual machine. If you wish to access the virtual machine via remote desktop, use the credentials below, which is the machine IP, which is going to be ready in 22 seconds. And once you accept the certificate when prompted, you should be logged into the remote now. So I'm going to use the Tryhackme virtual machine. Note, the virtual machine may take up to 3 minutes to load. It's loading. So in 2, 1, and we have an IP address ready. So I'm just going to show split view, and it's currently loading. Okay, while it's loading, I'm just going to go ahead. So read the above and start the virtual machine. We've done that, so we have hit that completed. Now let's go into the Task 2, Windows system configuration. Now, the system configuration utility, which is the msconfig, is for advanced troubleshooting, and its main purpose is to help diagnose startup issues. Reference the following documents here for more information on the system configuration utility. Now, there are several methods to launch system configuration. One method is from the Start menu. Once you hit the Start menu, you just type in msconfig and then click on System Configuration. Note, you need local administrator rights to open this utility. Now, this utility has 5 tabs across the top. Okay, below are the names for each tab. We'll briefly cover each tab in this task. Now we have General, Boot, Service, Startup, and Tools. General, Boot, Service, Startup, and Tools. Okay. Now in the General tab, we can select the devices and services for Windows to load upon boot. So the options are normal, diagnostic, or selective. So that's under General. So I'm just going to quickly do this. Let me hit it here, msconfig, and let's head straight here to system configuration. So on the system's configuration, which is going to appear here soon, so we see the first is the General. Under the General, we have normal startup, diagnostic startup, and selective startup. Okay, now in the Boot tab, which is the second one, in the Boot tab we can define various boot options for the operating system. So there are different boot options, safe boot, and so on. Now the Service tab lists all the let's go to Service tab. Okay, the Service tab lists all services configured for the system regardless of their state, running or stopped. Okay, a service is a special type of application that runs in the background. So all these are services running or stopped, and so on and so forth. Okay, now in the Startup tab, which is the next one here, in the Startup tab, you won't see anything interesting in the virtual machine here. Below is a screenshot of the Startup tab for msconfig from my local machine. This is how it looks like, same thing here. Now, as you can see, Microsoft advises using Task Manager, Task MGR, to manage, which is to enable or disable startup items. Okay, so over here, it needs it here, but here we didn't get it. And then the system configuration utility is not a startup management program. Okay, system utility. Okay, now let's see. Note, if you open Task Manager for the attached virtual machine, you will notice that Task Manager doesn't show a startup tab. Now there is a list of various utility or tools. There's no startup tab, I guess. If you open the Task Manager here, you won't see it anyways. Now there is a list of various utility or tools in the Tools tab that we can run to configure the operating system further. Now there is a brief description of each tool to provide some insights into what the tool is for. That is under the Tools. Okay. Now notice the selected commands. Okay, if I click on About Windows, notice the selected command section. All right, selected command sections. The information in the text box will change per tool. So if I click on UAC, information always changes on the selected command. The selected command is what we see here on the bottom. Okay. Now to run a tool, we can use the command to launch the tool via the run prompt, command prompt, or by clicking launch button. So I can either open up a command prompt or open up the run prompt, or I can just hit launch here and it will start working, or to actually run that particular command or run it too. Now let's answer the questions below. What is the name of the service that lists system internals as the manufacturer? The name of service. So let's go to services here. Okay. Under services, we are looking for the name of the service that lists system internals as manufacturer. So manufacturer is here. So let's look for the name of the service that lists. Let's look for service internal. Okay, I see service internal here, and then we can see the name of the service that lists is here. We have it here as PS shutdown. So we have PS, and then we have shutdown. Shutdown. Yes. Hit enter, and that's very correct. Now, whom is the Windows license registered to? Who is the Windows license registered to? So the Windows license, let me see. How do I get to the Windows license? Tools, About Windows. So under the tools, let's go to About Windows, and maybe I can launch it. You see display Windows version information. So let's see if I can get it there. Launch it. If I launch it, then we can see this product is licensed under Microsoft Ware License Terms to Windows user. So we have Windows user. That should be it. Correct. So we got that correct. Now, what is the command for Windows troubleshooting? What is the command for Windows troubleshooting? This is Windows troubleshooting here, and the command should be the selected command. So this should be whole of it. Let's see if we can copy. Is it copyable? Yes, it's copyable. So let's see. Control A. Is it doing that? No. I can just mark it and see. Control C. Let's see if it does copy. All right, and submit, and that's correct. Now, what command will open the control panel? The answer is the name of that exe, not the full part. What command will open the control panel? Let's see control panel. Is it control panel here? What command will open the control panel.exe? Oh, this here. You can see we are under the Windows troubleshooting. You can see it should be the control.exe. It should be the control.exe, I believe. So I can just copy it here. That should be it, right? I think there's another way to actually confirm that particular one. Let's try to confirm by running it. We can run. Let me see. So we can run that particular, let's say Windows R, to get that. Let's run the control.exe. If we click OK, and yes, it did take us to the control panel. So yes, the control.exe works. And with that, we bring to end to task 2. Let's head on straight to task 3. Okay, under task tree here, change UAC settings. Okay, change UAC settings. Okay, we are continuing with tools that are available through the system configuration panel. System configuration tools, and we are looking at change UAC settings. Okay, now user account control, which is the UAC, was covered in a great detail in Windows Fundamentals 1. Now the UAC settings can be changed or even turned off entirely, not recommended. Okay, you can move the slider to see how the settings will change, the UAC settings, and the Microsoft stance on the setting. Okay, so if we launch that down, if I launch this now, let's see if it takes me right there, so you can see it here. So I believe you can always change the settings here, I believe. Okay, now it says you can move the slider to see how the settings will change the UAC settings. So if I do this, okay, it's changing it. Okay, never notify me when apps do this, and so on and so forth. Okay, now what is the command to open user account control settings, which is the UAC? The answer is the name of the .exe file, not the full path. Okay, if I click on the change the UAC, you can see this is the full command. So we are looking for the .exe file, not the whole command. So I believe we are looking at user account control settings.exe. That should be it, and that's correct. Perfect. Now let's head straight to task 4. Task 4 is computer management. Now we are continuing with tools that are available through the systems configuration panel, and this time we are looking at the computer management, which is comp MGMT. So this should be here, the fourth one here, computer management. Okay, now the computer management utility has 3 primary sections: system tools, storage, and services. And system tools, storage, and services and application. If we launch that, we'll be able to see the, let me see. Okay, let me select that. Okay, yes, it's quite slow, but here we have the computer management. Here we have the system tools, which is this. We have the storage, and then we have the services and application. Okay, now the system tools. Now let's start with the task scheduler. This is the task scheduler. Now per Microsoft, with task scheduler, we can create and manage common tasks that our computer will carry out automatically at the time we specify. Okay, now a task can run an application, a script, etc., and tasks can be configured to run at any point. Okay, a task can run at log in or at log out or log off. Now tasks can also be configured to run on a specific schedule. Now, for example, every 5 minutes. All right. Now, to create a basic task, click on Create Basic Task. If you click on Task Scheduler, I believe, if we scroll down, let me see the option. Okay. Over here, we can actually see Create Tasks over here on the right side, under the Action pane. Here, okay, so you create tasks. Next is the event. Over here, the event viewer, which is the second. Event viewer allows us to view events that have occurred on the computer. Now, these records of events can be seen as an audit trail that can be used to understand the activities of the computer system. Now, this information is often used to diagnose problems and investigate actions executed on the system. If you click on event viewer here, click on it, you'll be able to see custom views, Windows logs, and then and so on and so forth. Yes. Now under the event viewer, it has 3 panes. Now the pane on the left provides a hierarchy tree listing of the event log providers as shown in the image below. As you can see, the custom view and so on and so forth. Now the pane in the middle will display a general overview and summary of the events specific to a selected provider. Just like if I click on the custom view here, would give us a full information about it. And the last pane here on the right, the pane on the right is the action pane where I can open or create custom view and so on and so forth. Now, there are 5 types of events that can be logged. Below is a table from docs.microsoft.com providing a brief description of each. Here we can see the following table. It can be error, warning, information, success, audit, and failure. And now the standard logs are visible under Windows logs. So if you click on Windows log here, this is the standard logs that we always look out for. Below is a table from docs.microsoft.com providing a brief description for each. So we have the application, the security, the setup. Here's system and forwarded events, but here we'll see application, security, and system basically. All right, now the application part here contains events by application. For example, a database application might record a file error. The application developer decides which event to record under this part here. Then security contains events such as valid and invalid logon attempts. This is very important. And as well as events related to resource use, such as creating, opening, or deleting files or other objects. Now, an administrator can start auditing to record events in the security log. Now, system contains event logged by system components such as the failure of a driver or other system components to load during startup. Custom log. The custom log here contains event logged by application that creates a custom log. Using a custom log enables an application to control the size of the log or attach an ACLs for security purposes without affecting other applications. Now, for more information about Event Viewer and event logs, please refer to the Windows Event Log room. Now, shared folders. Okay, shared folders. Here is the third one here under the System Tools. Now, the shared folders is where you will see a complete list of shares and folders shared that occur that others can connect to. Okay, so we have admin. If you click on shares, let me see. Yes, and so on and so. Wow. Okay. Now, in the above image under shares, the default share of Windows, the C and default remote administration shares created by Windows, such as admin. Now, as with any object in Windows, you can right-click on a folder to view its properties. Correct. All right, such as permissions, who can access the shared resources, and so on and so forth. Now, under sessions, that's this one here. Under sessions, you will see a list of users who are currently connected to the shares. In this virtual machine, you won't see anybody connected to the share, just like we can see here. Now, all the folders and or files that are connected, that the connected users access, will list under open files over here. But since you're not connected, it's not going to show. Now, the local users and groups section, you should be familiar with from the Windows Fundamentals one, because it's the loss rmgr.msc. I remember that. So that's under the local users and groups. That's that. Okay, users and groups. We saw that in part 1. Now, in performance, which is the last one here, you will see a utility called Performance Monitor. Now, PerfMon is used to view performance data either in real time or from a log file. This utility is useful for troubleshooting performance issues on a computer, whether local or remote. Okay, so as you can see it over here, performance showing everything here. That's very important, I guess. Now, Device Manager. The Device Manager allows us to view and configure the hardware, such as disabling any hardware attached to the computer. That's the Device Manager. If you click on that, let me see. Okay. So this list of shows us the view and configure the hardware, such as disabling the hardware attached to the computer. We can do anyone here. Now, storage, which is the last one here, basically. Storage. Under storage is Windows Server Backup and Disk Management. We would only look at disk management in this room. Note, since the virtual machine is a Windows Server operating system, there are utilities available that you will typically not see in Windows 10. So if you click on storage, click on Windows Server Backup. Okay, there's nothing here. Disk management. Okay. Alright, now disk management is a system utility in Windows that enables you to perform advanced storage tasks Some tasks are set up a new drive, extend a partition, shrink a partition, assign or change a drive later, example, or ex.e, something like that. All right, now services and applications. Okay, now that's the last part under here, under the computer management here. All right, now under services and application, we have recall from the previous tasks. A service is a special type of application that runs in the background. Now here you can do more than enable and disable a service, such as view the properties of the services. All right, okay. Now WMI configures and control the Windows management instrumentation, which is WMI service. Okay, now per Wikipedia, now the WMI allows script languages such as VB scripts or Windows PowerShell to manage Microsoft Windows personal computers and servers, both locally and remotely. Okay, now Microsoft also provides a command line interface to WMI called Windows Management Instrumentation Command Line, WMIC. Okay, so under WMI here, we'll be able to more like the Windows Management Instrumentation. Okay, all right. Now let's quickly answer the question for task 4 here. What is the command to open computer management? The answer is the name of the ms.msc file, not the full path. So if I close this now, we'll go back to this our initial part, which is the computer management, the full part, not the full part. So we're looking at comp mgmt.msc, and that should be the correct answer. Correct. Now, at what time every day is the Google Update Tax Machine UA tax configured to run? Let's go back to our computer management and launch it. If we launch it, we'll just go straight to Task Scheduler. I think under Task Scheduler, we should. Okay, let's scroll down to the bottom here. The Google, I just saw it. The Google Update Tax Machine UA. We're looking. What time does it update? It triggers at 6:15 a.m. every day. So we're looking at 6:15 a.m. every day. Correct. What is the name of the hidden folder that is shared? Shared. So let's go to shared folder. Go to shares. Okay, I think this should be it. Okay. All right, this should be the hidden folder. And if you come, let's view. All right, hidden folder. Okay, let me copy the share name here. Okay, let me copy it. That should be the hidden folder. And that's correct. Without further ado, let's just head straight to the last tax here, tax 5. Not last tax, sorry. Tax 5 here, system information. Okay, system information here. Now we are continuing with tools that are available through the system configuration panel. Now, what is the system information? MS Info 32. Now, per Microsoft, the Windows includes a tool called Microsoft System Information, msinfo32.ex. This tool gathers information about your computer and displays a comprehensive view of your hardware, system components, and software environment, which you can use to diagnose computer issues. Now, the information in System Summary is divided into 3 sections. We have the hardware. Let's launch that so you see better. We have the hardware resources, we have the components, and then we have the software environment. So as you can see it here. Great. Now, System Summary will display general technical specification for the computer, such as the processor, brand, and the models. Okay, that's what we show on the System Summary. Everything here, as you can see it here, listed. Now, the information displayed in hardware resources is not for the average computer user. If you want to learn more about this section, refer to the official Microsoft page. That's what happens under the hardware resources. Now, under components, you can see specific information about the hardware devices installed on the computer. Some sections don't show any information, but some sections do, such as the display and inputs. So we can see that under the system summary here. Inputs, modem, network adapters, and so on and so forth. Now, in the software environment section, you can see information about software baked into the operating system and software you have installed. Other details are visible in the sections. In the section as well, such as the environment variables, and network connections. If we extend this, you'll be able to see that network connections, environment variables, and so on and so forth. Now, recall from the Windows Fundamentals 1 room, and where environment variables was briefly touched on by Microsoft. Environment variables store information about the operating system environment. This information includes details such as the operating system path, the number of processors used by the operating system, and the location of the temporary folders. Now, the environment variables store data that is used by the operating system and other programs. For example, the WinDir environment variable contains the location of the Windows installation directory. Programs can query the value of this variable to determine where Windows operating system files are located. Now, if you click on the environment variable to see the assigned values for the virtual machine, so environment variables, I click on it so we can see, okay, assigned variables, okay. All right, now another method to view environment variables is to go to control panel, go to the system and security, go to system, advanced system settings, environment variables, or settings, system, about, system info, advanced system settings, environment variable. You can see these environment variables there. Okay, now the detour is over. Let's redirect our attention back to the MS Info 32, which is this the management information environment. Let's see and pick up where we left off. Okay, now towards the very bottom of this utility, there is a search bar. Please give it to a go. Select components and search the IP address. That should be under components. Under components, select an adapter. Is that under networks, I guess? Adapter. Select components and search for IP address. So there is an actual IP address, but let's say we don't have it. So let's just select components. When we selected components, I can just come here and search IP address. Find. And I think he gave me an answer. IP address not available, IP subnet, something like that. Yes, so we can search, and you can search selected category only. So if I click here and find the nest, it should be able to just give me for that particular category. Makes sense. Now, what is the command to open system information? The answer is the name of the ex file. Not the full part, so I might just close this, and we're looking at system information. So we're looking at the msinfo32.exe. If I paste that submit, that's correct. And now, what is listed under system name? So let me just launch this first. So system name. Tryhackme WinFun. Okay, I'm just going to type that out. You can copy THM-WinFun2, Windows Phone 2. Great. Now, under environment variables, what is the value for comp spec? Environment variables. Let's click on, I think that's under software environment variables. What is the value for comp sec? Okay, so this is it. Can I copy? No, I have to type that out. Okay, you have this and system. Okay, system root. Okay, / / or backward slash, and then system32 / cmd.xfile. Correct. And that brings us to the end of task 5. Straight to task 6. Okay, over here on task 6, let me close this. So on task 6, we are continuing with tools that are available through the system configuration panel. Now, what is Resource Monitor? That's Rexmon. Now, per Microsoft, Resource Monitor displays per process and aggregates CPU, memory, disk, and network usage information. Now, in addition to providing details about which processes are using individual file, in addition to providing details about which processes are using individual file handles and modules, that's what it does. Okay. Now, advanced filtering allows user to isolate the data related to one or more processes, either application or service, start, stop, pause, and resume services, and close unresponsive applications from the user interface. Now, it also includes a process analysis feature that can help identify deadlocked processes and file locking conflicts so that the user can attempt to resolve the conflict instead of closing an application and potentially losing data. That's a very good tool. As some of the other tools mentioned in this room, this utility is geared primarily to advanced users who need to perform advanced troubleshooting on the computer system. Now, in the overview tab, Rexmon has 4 sections. You're looking at Resource Monitor, right? So, yes, that Resource Monitor. Okay, monitor the performance and resource usage of the local computer. So if I should launch that, we'll be able to see it has what we call CPU, it has disk, we have network, and then we have memory. Okay, now we have, those are the 4 we have. Now the same 4 sections have corresponding tags across the tops. See below. Okay, so this is basically, we see CPU, disk, network, memory, and we also have it here on the top, CPU, memory, disk, network. Alright, note that each tab has additional information for each. An image is shown below, so if I click here on the CPU here, I believe we have more information. If I click on memory, should be having more information right there. CPU, memory, disk, and network. Okay, now although not captured in any of the images above, Resource Monitor has a pane at the far right. I think this is it. Yes. Alright. Far right. This pane shows a graphical view in real time of each section, as you can see here right now. Note the information displayed in Resource Monitor will be different for you compared to the images above. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, we have more here. Now, what is the command to open Resource Monitor? This answer is the name of the exe file, not the full path. Let's just close this and type on Resource Monitor, and we're looking at rexmon.exe. Okay, if I paste that, enter, and that's correct. Heading to task 7. All right, on task 7, we are looking at the command prompt. Now, we are continuing with tools that are available through the system configuration panel, still here. Now, the command prompt CMD can seem daunting at first, but it's really not that bad once you understand how to interact with it. Now, in early operating systems, the command line was the sole way to interact with the operating system. Now, when the GUI graphical user interface was introduced, it allowed users to perform complex tasks with a few clicks or buttons instead of entering commands in the command prompt. Now, even though the GUI is the primary way to interact with the operating system, a computer user can still interact via the command prompt. Now, in this task, we'll only cover a few commands that a computer user can run in the command prompt to obtain information about the computer system. Now, let's start with a few simple commands such as hostname and who am I. Now, the command hostname will output the computer's name. The command who am I will output the name of the logged in user. Okay, and this is command prompt. I can actually launch that, and I will just type in hostname. Is that supposed to be in capital letter? We have that, and if I want to also type in who am I, and it just outputs the name of the logged in user. Okay. Okay. Now, next, let's look at some commands that are useful when troubleshooting. Now, a command used often is the ipconfig. This command will show the network address settings for the computer. Let's type in here ipconfig. I don't want to use the .exe, just ip. Okay. Enter. So Windows IP configuration, default gateway, and so on and so forth. Now, as you can see, looks like we need this as this one is redacted, so maybe that's an answer to your question. Now, each command will have a help manual to explain the expected syntax to execute the command properly, along with any additional parameters that can be added to the command to expand its execution. Now, a command to retrieve the help manual for a command is / question. So for instance, if we do the ipconfig, we can do the / then question, enter. It will give us information more about the particular usage for that particular command. Okay. For example, to see the help manual for ipconfig, you can use the following, just like we did. Now, note, to clear the command prompt screen, the command is cls. Okay, cls. Okay, here, which means clear screen, I guess, and that clears it. Now, the next command is net start. Per the help manual, this command will display protocol statistics and current TCP IP network connections. Net start, let me do, okay, not that. Net start, okay. Net start, enter. Yeah, TCP protocol. Yeah, it's just showing the statistics and current TCP or IP network connections, as you can see here. Great. Now, let's continue. Now, in the above image, the line within the red box shows us an example syntax for the command. TCP. Let's just continue. The structure tells us the net start command can be run alone or with parameters such as -a, -b, -e, etc. When any of the parameters are appended to the root command, net start in this case, the output changes. Play with a few to see for yourself. So let's just see net start. I want it to be with -a. Okay. If I do net start -b, let's see what that does. Oh, okay, so different option. And if you want to know what they mean, you can just do that particular net start, and that should be / question. And let's see to give us the informations about that. So you can see A displays all connections and listening ports. That was that first option. -b displays the executable involved in creating each connections or listening port, and so on and so forth. Now, okay, so where are we? Yeah. Now, when any of the parameters are appended, the answer changes. Play with it. We have done that. The net command is primarily used to manage network resources. Now, this command supports subcommands. Now, if you type net without a subcommand, the output will show the syntax of the root command, showing you a few of the subcommands you can use. Okay, so if you just type net, then you can be able to see what you can use: net time, net stop, and so on. Now, for the net command to display the help manual, you know what to do. / question will not work. For the net command, in this case, you need to use the different syntax, which is net help. Okay, I see. Okay. All right. Now, so if you wish to see the help information for net user, the command is net help user. Okay. Now, you can use the same command to view the help information for other useful net sub commands, such as local group, use, share, and session. Refer to the following link to see a comprehensive list of commands you can execute in the command prompt here. All right. Now, in the system configuration, what is the full command for internet protocol configuration? In the system configuration, let me close this for now. We're looking for system configuration. This is where we are. We're looking for the full path for the internet protocol configuration. What is the full path? Right? write what is the full command for internet. The full command. This should be it, the whole of this. Let me try that. And enter. Correct. Now for the IP config command, how do you show detailed information? Then we have to launch that particular command prompt one more time. Launch it. And we just type in IP config and /question. And this should be it. Show detailed information. How to show detailed information? So it should be IP config all. Copy that. Let me see. I believe that should be the answer. Correct. And task 8 quickly. Now over here on task 8 we have registry editor. Registry editor. We are continuing with tools that are available through the system configuration panel. Now the Windows Registry by Microsoft is a central hierarchical database used to store information necessary to configure the system for one or more users, applications, and hardware devices. Now, the registry contains information that Windows continually references during operations, such as profiles for each user, application installed on the computer, and the types of document that each can create. Now, property sheet settings for folders and application icons, what hardware exists on the system, the ports that are being used. All these are found in the Windows Registry. Now, warning, the registry is for advanced computer users. Making changes to the registry can affect normal computer operation. Now, there are various ways to view edit the registry. One way is to use the registry editor regit. So, have it here, the last one here, launch. Let's see, we can see the registry editor here. Refer to the following Microsoft documentation here to learn more about the Windows Registry. Now, answer the following question. What is the command to open the registry editor? And the answer is the name of the exec. Without even going there, actually no. If you just put the regedit.exec, that should give us the answer. Oh, no? Okay. I feel too much for myself. That should be regit. Oh, I see. It has to be like the one with the 32. So, okay. regedit32.exe. Alright, exe. So that's it. That's the answer for that. And heading to the last task here, we do have conclusion. Now record that the tasks covered in this room were some of the tools that can launch from msconfig, because actually we started with the msconfig and then we just clicked on system configuration. Throughout the room, commands and shortcuts were shared for the utilities. This means you don't have to launch msconfig to run these utilities. Yes, you just have to use the command, go to run, use the command prompt, and it will always run. Okay, you can also run some of this utility directly from the start menu. See below where some of these utilities can be found, like Windows Administrative 2, Windows System. Let me see. Okay, Windows Administrative, yeah. Component service. Oh, okay. Event view and so on and so forth. System information, system configuration. Okay, makes sense. And then Windows system. Under the Windows system, we see command prompt, run, and so on and so forth. Now, some of the tools listed in msconfig that weren't mentioned in this room were either covered in Windows Fundamentals 1 or were left for you to explore on your own. Okay, answer the following question here. Let's close this tab here. The machine here, and we're answering the last question for the room. And yes, we just completed the Windows Fundamentals Part 2. Thank you for studying with me. I really enjoyed this room, and I'll see you guys in the next video for Windows Fundamentals Part 3, which is the last room for the pre-security learning part. Thank you for riding with me one more time, and do have a lovely day. Ciao.